Welcome to my new Guitar Nerdery video. This is a follow-up of my former episode where I took my song Symphony of Fear to show you my thought process behind arranging chords and riffs. And this time I want to talk about the first solo part, talking about my general thoughts about a solo that has to tell a story and how all other instruments that are playing could follow that dramaturgy. There's a great difference when it comes to compare a solo in jazz music with a solo in rock and pop music. In rock and pop music, most of the times, for the solo part, there's a fixed, stiff arranged part, a riff that's repeating a chord progression, and the rate of repetitions is also fixed, 4 times 8 bars or whatever. And the soloist doesn't take the lead. He plays to the music that has already been worked out. In jazz music, it's different. The soloist has the lead. There he has a general choreography of a chord progression, but everything else is open. And all instruments, even the drummer, follow the dramaturgy of the soloist. When you want to do this in rock and pop music, in the live situation, it's easily possible. It's live. But we got a problem when it comes to recording. There's a general difference of the way you record music, jazz music and rock and pop music. Jazz music is most of the times played live. So you can do this. You can follow that concept. Everyone follows the soloist. But rock and pop music is most of the times recorded part by part. Maybe first the drums, then the bass, but not together. And when you're doing this, you can create a situation where everyone listens to each other. What's absolutely necessary if all want to play together and want to create suspense. And there are many musicians out there who record music the same way like I do, playing all the instruments by themselves. And in that case, interaction isn't possible. You have to pre-arrange everything. But I have always that jazz approach in my mind, that the suspense of a solo, the story, should be supported by the rest of the instruments to enhance the story. And there are ways you can do that. Now I'm going to show you how I arranged the riff of the rhythm guitar for the first solo part of my song Symphony of Fear, confirmed to that jazz idea, to that jazz approach. For the first solo part, I took the same riff idea that the acoustic guitar is playing in the verses. The riff goes like this. The time signature of the riff is 19/16, and I divided it in 4/4/3/3/3/2. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. So I want to take that riff and play it on the electric guitar. And first I play it very closed, laying the focus mainly on the accents. It goes like this. Because I have to pre-arrange the riff, I decided to play it 16 times for the first whole solo part. And I knew I would strive for a solo that would tell a story, that would lead towards a climax, and that is probably at the end of the 16 bars. So the storyline is very easy. It's just like this. So I wouldn't play 16 times the same without changing anything. That would be a flat suspense. The idea I came up with for the arrangement was dividing the whole solo part of 16 bars into 3 parts. The first part would be the longest one, would be 8 bars, and then again 4 and more enhancement in the next 4. So I start the solo part with playing the riff I just showed you. Let me show you again. So I play that riff first 4 times, very closed, with focus on the accents. And at the end of the 4th time, I open the chords. In that case, I'm thinking like a drummer who opens the hi-hat and plays a tom roll or whatever to lead into the next part. Now I'm exactly at the middle of the solo, and now I want to play the same part but a little enhanced. And there are many ways you can do that, but I decided to play the same riff but add dead strokes to it, like this. In that case, it was a simple way to put a tremendous amount of extra drive into the riff. And now we are already at the last part of the solo, and my rhythm guitar part should now get even more drive. When we are analyzing that riff, it's just a downwards movement. And then up again. And this time, for the last part, I wanted to start on the first chord, but then not to go down, to go upwards. For the first chord, I played the same chord like the acoustic guitar in the verses. It's a B power chord with an open B string and an open E string, what makes it a B sus4 chord. I consider this riff in B minor. And after playing that B sus4 chord, I play an inversion of a B minor. And then the next chord was an A power chord, if there would be a third in it, in A major. So I have now. You see, like what I showed in my former episode with the chorus and all these inversions, I slide into these chords. That's just my style. The next chord is a G power chord. If I would play the third, it would be a G major. But I decided to play a G sus2 chord and let the mode out of it. So now I have. The next chord is this one here. An F sharp in the bass and a D on top. And that is actually an inversion of a D major chord without the fifth. And having just played the G sus2 chord here, I only have to change one note to get to the inversion of the D major. This way I interrupt the upwards movement by going a half step down, but it fits so nicely. And then in the actual riff comes an E power chord. And I consider this to be an E major chord, but I do not play the third here. What makes it at that point B Dorian mode. And it's very easy to get from that D major inversion to the E major inversion. Just 2 frets up. And there I have my upwards movement. It sounds pretty cool. And then I make a great jump down to play the second part of the riff, just the same as before. So the whole last riff, the final riff, goes like this. And I end up with a really broad E power chord. So the last part was again a beautiful example how you can pep up your riffs when you know something about chords, when you learn some chord inversions. You can tune your riffs. Now I'm going to play all 3 riffs, the whole solo part, to the music for you to hear how the excitement improves. And I recommend not to switch off the video after I'm saying goodbye, because then I'm gonna show again the whole solo part with all instruments for you to check out how it works, how it supports actually the solo guitar. This was it for today. I hope you are inspired and you found that video interesting. If so, please like and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to see you next time.